Have you ever felt like you're standing on the brink of a monumental change? A shift so profound that it will redefine everything you know. That's the feeling we're exploring today, a sense of an impending conflict, not of nations or armies, but a conflict of ideas, of faith, and of conscience. We're diving into a powerful chapter that paints a picture of a future struggle, one that has been building for centuries. The core of this conflict revolves around a simple yet profound question: who holds ultimate authority in our lives? Is it God and His unchanging law, or is it human institutions and traditions? For centuries, the Bible was a rare and precious book, often kept from the common person. But with the Reformation, its truths were unlocked, spreading like wildfire across the globe. People began to read for themselves about a God of love, about salvation through faith, and about a day of rest, the Sabbath that God Himself blessed and set apart at creation. This rediscovery of biblical truth caused a great awakening. However, not everyone celebrated this return to the Scriptures. An opposing power, a system that blends Christian teachings with human traditions, had long established its own authority. This system substituted God's commandments with its own, most notably changing the day of worship from the seventh-day Sabbath to the first day of the week, Sunday. For a long time, this change went largely unchallenged. But as people studied the Bible more deeply, they realized this discrepancy. They saw that the Scriptures consistently point to the seventh day as the Lord's Day. This created a division. On one side, those who chose to honor the Bible and the Bible alone. On the other, those who upheld the authority of tradition and the church that instituted it. The argument presented is that this isn't just an ancient debate. It's the central issue of the final conflict. The claim is that this very system, which boasts of changing God's law, will seek to enforce its man-made Sabbath on the entire world. It will present this as a solution to society's problems, a way to bring about unity and moral order. Imagine a world in turmoil, facing unprecedented crises, natural disasters, social unrest, economic collapse. In such times, people desperately look for answers, for a leader, for a single solution. The narrative suggests that religious leaders will argue that society has turned its back on God. And the reason for our calamities is the widespread disregard for Sunday observance. They will appeal to governments, urging them to enact laws that enforce Sunday rest for everyone. This will be framed as a public good, a necessary step to appease divine anger and restore order. Those who resist, who insist on honoring the biblical Sabbath, will be labeled as troublemakers, dissenters who are preventing the world from healing. This is where the real test of faith begins. It's a choice between convenience and conviction, between popular opinion and biblical truth. The pressure to conform will be immense. Socially, economically, and legally, life could become incredibly difficult for those who stand firm. They might face ridicule, lose their jobs, or even be seen as enemies of the state. This isn't a physical battle with weapons, but a spiritual one, fought in the hearts and minds of every individual. It's about who we trust and what we obey when everything is on the line. The Bible describes two distinct marks. One is the mark of the beast, which is presented here as the acceptance of this enforced, man-made institution in defiance of God's direct command. It signifies allegiance to a human power over the Creator. The other is the seal of God. This is not a physical mark, but a spiritual one, a settling into the truth so firmly that you cannot be shaken. It's characterized by keeping God's commandments, including the fourth commandment about the Sabbath, which itself contains God's name, His title as Creator, and His territory, the heavens and the earth. The Sabbath becomes a sign of loyalty to the God who created us. So, the lines are drawn. On one side, a global movement demanding conformity to a tradition. On the other, a small but determined group holding fast to the Scriptures. The world will watch, and every person will have to choose. This choice isn't based on ignorance. The message of the true Sabbath and the warning against the false one will have been proclaimed to all nations. No one will be left in the dark. This coming conflict is portrayed as the final act in the great controversy between Christ and Satan. Satan has always worked to usurp God's authority, to misrepresent His character, and to turn people away from His law of love. Enforcing a counterfeit Sabbath is described as his ultimate deception, a clever attempt to command the worship that belongs only to God. But the story doesn't end in fear or despair. It's a call to preparation, a call to study the Bible for ourselves, to build a personal relationship with God that is not dependent on pastors or popular opinion. It's about developing a faith that can withstand the fiercest opposition, a character that reflects the love and integrity of Jesus. The promise is that God will not abandon His people in this final test. Just as He protected the faithful through ages past, He will provide strength, wisdom, and deliverance for those who choose to honor Him. Their ultimate vindication is certain. This perspective challenges us to think deeply about our own beliefs. What is the foundation of our faith? Are we grounded in the timeless truths of God's Word, or are we drifting with the changing tides of human opinion and tradition? The impending conflict, as described here, is not something to be feared, but a call to awaken, to prepare, and to stand confidently in the truth, knowing that our Creator holds the final victory. This is a profound and thought-provoking view of what lies ahead. It urges us to look beyond the immediate headlines and see the larger spiritual battle unfolding. It's a call to choose our side, not based on coercion, but on a loving, intelligent understanding of God and His Word. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. I hope this has given you a lot to reflect on. If you found this valuable, please give this video a like and consider subscribing for more content that challenges us to think and grow. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, stay curious and keep seeking the truth.